Welcome to Introduction to the Unit Circle. I'll quickly run you through how this course works. So we have a few buttons here. This button here will center the lesson on the screen. And so the first part of this page is the lesson. And then we can jump down to the interactive panel. This is the second part. And then we have practice questions down here. So what you should do to go through each page of this course is play through the interactive panel. If you get stuck with some part, you can jump up to the lesson, and that's this video here, and you can click through it to find which part you might be stuck on, and then you can pause it and you can go back down to continue with the interactive panel. After you finish the interactive lesson part of it, you can scroll down here to the practice questions. For each practice question, you can try it and then you can show the answer for each one. And then also down the bottom, you also have a video explanation where I talk you through how to do it. So give each question a go before you look at the explanation, but sometimes it'll be a concept that you're not quite used to yet. And so you don't have to spend too long being stuck on it. Sometimes the whole point is that you watch the video explanation, and then once you see how you can try it, then you pause it and you go back and try them yourself. After you finish each page, you can come up here and you can tick it off to show that it's complete. And then you can click over to go on to the next one. When we tick it off as complete and we go back to the course homepage, which would be here, you can see which ones you've done and which ones you haven't. So once you tick it off, it'll come up as green on here. Okay, let's get started. So I'm going to jump down to the interactive panel and wait for it to load. Okay, so we're on this first one here, and you can navigate across to each of the different levels. So when I'm on the next page, side lengths, I will navigate across to side lengths, and then I'll play it on that screen. Obviously for this one, we're doing Introduction to the Unit Circle, so we'll be working on this first one. Let's press play. Last thing I'll show you is that there's a control here, which is lesson speed. Basically, if you're reading through the text quite quickly, this text over here, you can increase it up to here. It'll make the other things happen faster. If you feel like you're reading and then waiting around for a while for stuff to happen. But most of the time, you'll probably want to just at the default setting or even higher, so that you can have time to process what's being said before things actually happen. You can also change the volume of the sound effects from here as well. Okay, let's get into it. The unit circle is a tool we use to understand trigonometry better. It's called the unit circle because the radius of the circle is only 1 unit long. So unit, it's only 1 unit long. Unit meaning like kilometer, meter, or centimeter. So it could be 1 kilometer, 1 meter, or 1 centimeter long. It doesn't really matter what unit it is, which is why we just say 1 unit. Drag the line around to create your own unit circle. So just drag it around like this. Make sure you drag it up and to the left, so anti-clockwise, and you can't go the other way. Now let's play a game. Imagine the circle is a pond. Okay. And there's a frog that lives on a lily pad in the center. The frog needs to get food from the land by hopping along the log. He can't swim. Obviously frogs can swim, but just bear with me. This frog can't swim. Okay, so he can only hop along the log, he can't swim through the water. They eat insects that come to the edge of the pond to drink. The frog needs to eat 5 flies to be full. He's already eaten 2 just then. He needs 5 total. Help him reach his food by rotating the log. Click and drag the log to rotate it to the food. So we just click and drag it up and to the left. If you ever get stuck, there's some hints on a lot of the parts. So this one tells you to drag it clockwise. Awesome, try this next one. Okay, drag it up and to the left, anti-clockwise. Nice, try this one. Okay, I might want to go down this way, it looks like it's closer, but again, for this first part, we're focusing on dragging it up and to the left, so anti-clockwise. We'll talk about going the other way soon. Great stuff. This time we're going to rotate the log a little differently. We're going to rotate the log by typing in the angle now. For example, type in 60. Okay, so I'll go down here and I'll type in 60. So with this box here, we have a few buttons. This one here will clear the box, and then you can just keep typing again. That's if later on we start doing more complex things like fractions and trig functions and things like that. Sometimes it can be a bit hard to just wipe the entire thing. So there's a button here that'll just wipe the whole thing and clear it. There's also there's a help button here, which will show the different shortcuts. So to do a fraction, you use the slash button. To do a square root, you type in square. Not so useful in this particular lesson, but in the coming lessons, that'll be really helpful if you forget. And you can press submit to submit your answer. You can also just press enter on the keyboard. That's usually a bit faster. And the last button here is a skip button. So it says, try your best to answer the question and use the hints if you need to. So if you get stuck, don't just go straight to this skip button. You also have hints that you can use. So this one is literally, you're just supposed to type in 60. And then also if you get really stuck, you can click on answer here after you read the hint, and it'll literally just tell you what to type in. If that still doesn't work, because sometimes the formatting can be a little bit tricky on the tricky ones, like something like this, for example, that can be hard to navigate. And so if you feel like you're typing in the right thing, as it says here, if you get stuck, if you're confident your answer is correct, but it's not accepting it, press this button and it'll insert the correct answer and it'll move on. So I'll do that on this one just to show you. So it puts in 60 and it moves on for you, okay? So use it as a last resort, but obviously sometimes computers, you put in the right answer and it's not exactly right, so it doesn't like it, so. All right, on the unit circle, we always measure angles from the x-axis on the right. So over here, this x-axis line that's underneath the log here. Here's the x-axis on the left, as in on the left of the y-axis. And yeah, so we always measure angles from over here. Positive angles go anti-clockwise from this point. So we go that way like we have been doing. And as for negative angles go clockwise from this point. So just like a clock moves, it goes around this way if you want to do negative angles. We're going to focus on positive angles for now until we get the hang of it. Let's help the frog finish his meal. Once the food appears, type in some angles to figure out the correct one. You can have as many guesses as you want, so don't be afraid to guess. Keep trying until you get the correct angle. Okay, so we have this one over here. So what angle could this be? Well, we know that 90 degrees would be going around here and going all the way straight up. Let's type in 90 and have a look at that, right? That's a right angle. And then if we keep going from 90, if we went another 90, we'd get to 180. So let's type in that. And then if we go back a little bit, we'll have maybe like 175 maybe? Okay, so maybe like 170. Nice. For all these, they're not going to be little increments like 171 or something like that. It's going to be increments of 5. Nice. Okay, this one, if we went 90, 180, 270, a little bit less than 270. Let's try 260. Nice. Awesome. This one looks kind of small, maybe let's try 20. Oh, okay, nice. Getting them on the first go. But you can type in as many answers as you want and just experiment with it. One more. Okay, this one looks a bit tricky. If I went all the way around, that would be a full rotation, which is 360. So what about something less than 360? What about like 320? Let's try that. Okay, like a bit more than 320. What about 330? Ooh, what about a bit more like 340? Oh, a little bit less. So we'll go down by 5. 335, nice. Okay, that's all of them for that section. Okay, lastly, let's try a few negative angles. Remember, negative angles go clockwise down to the left. So normally this angle will be 30 degrees, but using a negative angle, it's negative 330 degrees. Type it in. Okay, so normally we go this way for 30. If we go the other way, it's going to be negative 330. Like that. Awesome, try these last two. Okay, so going this way, we might have something like 235 or something like that. But coming back this way, same kind of way to think about it, but we're just going the opposite direction. So this would be 90, or negative 90 here. We'll go a little bit more than that. What about like negative 130? Or maybe like negative 120. Oh, nice. Okay, last one. Okay, we'll have to go at least 90, 80, 270, and then a bit more. So maybe like 290? Okay, what about 300? Nice. Great stuff, but how does this apply to trigonometry? These are circles, not triangles. We'll cover that in the next lesson, now that you're familiar with the unit circle and how the angles work. For now, I bet the frog's ready for a nap after all that eating. Let's let him rest. Okay, press next, and you can see his little eyes closing, because he's going to have a sleep. Alright, level complete. So we did angle size, angle numbers, negative angles, and we unlocked level 2. So, go ahead and work on the practice questions now. So there's question 1 there, and there's question 2, and that's it. And after you finish them, oh, and don't forget there's a video explanation for each one, as well as just an answer for each one. And if you get stuck or you're looking at the question like, I don't know how to do that, you can feel free to go straight out of the video explanation. Just make sure you go back and retry it yourself. Okay, once you finish that, you can tick off this lesson like that, and then you can click to go across to the next lesson, which is side lengths.